Hey, everybody. I'm excited that you showed up here and are listening today. Have you ever had this experience where you just feel like this is definitely a piece of information that I shouldn't be sharing with my partner? Like I either deserve some right to some type of privacy or really is sharing everything helpful. It can't be everything. We're going to talk about that today. Welcome to Beyond the Facade podcast. I'm your host, Luke Gordon, and I'm thrilled to have you join me in this space today. What we're going to be doing is diving deep into the trials and triumphs and truths of seeking authenticity. Becoming your true self isn't about a single action or moment. It's a relentless pursuit, a commitment to self that reveals the rich connection and meaning that our life has to offer. So whether this is your first time tuning in or you're a regular listener, know this: what you're building here goes beyond a conversation. You're here to challenge, to change, and to celebrate the incredible journey of becoming your authentic self. Because when you dare to show up fully, the rewards are immeasurable. So welcome to Beyond the Facade. Let's get started. All right. So one thing is I want to mention to you all is we do have an intensive coming up in Spanish Fork, Utah. It's called the Unmasked. It's unraveling layers of shame and reclaiming your authentic self. If you're walking around, you're feeling like that you can't really be authentic and vulnerable and connected to the people that you love to have you explore this a little bit. So please reach out to us to learn a little bit more. We'll put in the notes more about the intensive. It's a 3-day in Spanish Fork, Utah on January 15th through the 17th. I'm going to be doing a decent amount of digging into the why and the root cause of the hiding and secrecy and shame. So please come hang out with us. All right. So let's jump into this. So I'm really excited to have Laura back here. Is that your second time back here, Laura?
It is, yeah.
Nice. I appreciate you being willing to come back.
Love it.
So I wanted Laura to be here because basically the perspective of her professional perspective, and because of the amount of work that she does with the partner in healing, the betrayed partner, and what goes through their mind and what they think about. Laura, I could really just appreciate you weighing in all that. But let me set up what we're talking about today with a general thing that happens that's specifically been coming up in our groups lately around what should I share and what not should I share. You have this situation that comes up frequently where you have, let's say in a therapy session with a therapist, or maybe with a sponsor or somebody else, where the person weighs in on their spouse's or partner's behavior or thoughts or anything. And they say, yeah, I don't know. Your partner seems to be kind of unreasonable, or I don't know if they have realistic expectations, or maybe they're selfish, or boundaries are too strict, or I think they're going about it the wrong way. And because that person is trusted or respected, has a high degree of influence, what comes up often, which is, I don't think I should be sharing that, or maybe even thinking about it, sharing it, because I'm in a confidential place and I don't think it should. Any other themes to that, Laura, of the not sharing because of a certain reason?
I think that's really so common across the board, right? And I think that how we handle that is going to be the key there to your healing, both individually and relationally.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of times what the men that I say we'll work with is, yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with me. That's just somebody else's opinion. That's somebody else's thoughts. They're not mine. So I'm not going to share just random stuff that's going to make her hurt. And then there's also I notice that's tucked away in the back of their mind that it's actually sometimes verbalized, or sometimes, or it's not, or not even recognized, which is, I think they kind of have a point. I think there's some truth there.
Okay.
And yeah, go ahead.
Can I go back to something you said just a second ago?
Yeah.
I don't want to tell her that because it would hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just ask you to maybe role play for a second. Like,
yeah.
Why do you get to decide what she hears and what she doesn't hear?
Okay. So I'm going to, like you said, role play. I'm going to put myself in the shoes of one of the men that I'm around and what they would say to that. Does that work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you ask that question again?
Why do you get to decide what she gets to hear?
Um, I think I don't know if I get to decide, but I don't. I've been placed in a situation where I don't want to hurt her with that information. I don't know if I agree with that or I don't agree with that. So what's the point in giving that to her?
Okay. And okay, here's another question then.
Okay.
When all of this acting out behavior was discovered by your partner, what was the hardest part for her to metabolize in all of that?
Mm, the lies, the secrecy, the hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I want to pause on the role play for a second because
Mhm,
let's just like highlight that
mhm,
partner after partner after partner that I meet with. The acting out behavior is so hurtful, but it's the lies that are so traumatizing because the reality that I was living wasn't the one I knew about.
mm,
So when you're trying to heal relationally, you have to have that rigorous honesty, and you deciding what she gets to hear and what she doesn't get to hear is back in that same mindset of I can't tell her because she would be hurt. And that very act of keeping that from her is what is going to traumatize her.
okay. I'm gonna stay in the role play and I'm gonna push back on that.
Okay, go ahead, try.
Okay, you're like, "Try." I love it. Try. Okay, but it wasn't like behavior that I picked. It's not like I was looking at porn and choosing to hide that from her. I didn't invite myself into that environment to get that. I recognize that this person that I value that says this, it's not like I'm picking that. That was theirs,
Mhm.
and I was around for it.
Okay.
So am I lying or anything by that?
Okay. Well, here's here's a question.
Okay.
Is this person that you heard it from, is this person being hired to help you to heal you and a relationship?
Mhm. I mean, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so this person is in a position of trust. They've made comments that are not in alignment with that goal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true, and I'm kind of angry that they put me there.
Okay. Okay. So let's look at this from like an attachment perspective for a
Mhm.
second.
Okay.
We can only connect to the degree that there are no secrets. So the minute that I am not being fully honest with my partner, I have right there put a limit on how secure I can feel in the relationship and how secure the relationship can be intimacy wise.
Mm, mm,
So if your goal is a healed relationship, then deciding what she or the partner gets to hear or doesn't get to hear because of how they might metabolize that information, you're right there. You're putting a limit on how close and how secure you can feel in that relationship.
okay. So, I have a question I wanna ask on behalf of the people, the men or women that are in the situation of this, of needing to recognize that healthiness is transparency. Well, I get why I need to not hide, but does she even really wanna know this? Because I feel like I can not make a decision for her, but I wouldn't want to know this. I wouldn't wanna know if somebody says that I'm this. So what if I feel like know what she wants?
Let's just operate from the assumption that you don't know what she wants. And let's ask. Part of that healing process from betrayal is voice and choice.
Mm,
She needs to have the choice and be able to use her voice.
that's part of that's part of what?
That's part of the partner's healing.
Okay, so
Getting that
she needs
ability.
that.
Yeah, because that has been taken away. That's part of that traumatic my reality that I was living isn't the one I knew about. I didn't have the ability to consent to be in the relationship,
Mm,
right? And I didn't have the ability to use my voice and say, "I'm not okay with this behavior." And so part of that healing process is allowing that voice and choice to now be a part of the relationship.
Okay. Okay. So this is really good. Let's zoom way out of it. And I want a couple of thoughts around all of this. And I want you to just, if you're listening to this, kind of just check in with yourself and going, which recognize you're probably already doing, which is, what is it? How does this apply to me? Does it apply to me? And I really love about something you said, Laura, around the partner in healings. Part of her process or their process is voice and choice, which is, I just think that healing is going to be the lack of conflict, like just the good days. And I recognize so much the healing now is going to be in me running to those tough conversations and sharing that information that I know there's going to be an emotional impact. And I go into those and I chase those and I go after those. So she has an opportunity to heal inside of the relationship instead of outside of the relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's so hard to see. Is I think that the healing happens on the days without that, and they actually don't. That's not where the healing happens. It happens in the days where this dialogue happens.
Yeah. For example, if I go to the gym and I lift weights, that's where I'm getting stronger. Not thinking about going to the gym, not the days after the gym when I'm taking rest days.
Mhm.
It's in the hard. It's lifting the heavy weights. That's where I'm getting stronger.
Yep, yep. Here's the cleverly disguised thing that our brains do when the person has experienced compulsive behavior and their brain is just wired to self-protect, is clever ways to disguise, I'm doing this for somebody else, but I'm really just doing it for myself. When I'm really doing it self-protection. So it is, at a 1,000-foot view, it really just does look like you care about your person. You're just like, I care about him. I don't want him to hurt. But what we find out often as we unpack this is, okay, so tell me what's coming up for you. What's this about? And you go layers deep and we're going to have a conversation and they are going to say things. The partner in healing, the betrayed person is going to say things and they're going to have questions. Oh yeah, what are the questions about? What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think that I'm this? And then they recognize like, I don't really want to go there because, right? Now I have to have a conversation about the thing that I've been avoiding, right? Because why did it happen in the first place? Why am I in that environment, right? Why am I with a sponsor or a therapist or somebody that I trust and this subject comes up? It's because what is actually at the root? Is there something? What are you thinking about with that, Laura?
Hmm. Yeah, they say that mental health is a commitment to reality at all costs, right? And having to confront that reality that we might actually have a conversation about maybe some resentments that I have that have built up that I've used as like justification in the past. And I haven't wanted to dig into that because I know that I'm the one that caused all this pain. And yeah, makes sense that you're going to have that like fear. And we can only connect to the level that we have no secrets.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause the one that's often is when you get down to it is like, yeah. And I think I already said this, but I think that person I'm talking to kind of has a point that I think my partner is too rigid. I think my partner is blank, too many boundaries, too controlling. And I'm not telling you go to your partner and throw everything on them and give them all this unexpressed emotion and expect them to change as much as the conversation is around transparency of what I'm actually working through. So it's not about protecting my partner. It's about protecting my unexpressed emotions that can lead to further conflict and disconnection.
Yeah. Well, and maybe protecting the parts of me that don't know how to handle the reaction of the person, of the partner, right? Because that partner is likely to be really upset and probably won't feel safe with that person seeking recovery, continuing to see that trusted person, of course. And I don't want the reaction that's going to happen if I bring that up. Like that, are you really protecting your partner or are you afraid of how you might not have the skills yet to respond.
Yeah. And that's a pretty common one, which is I don't feel like I have the skills to respond. They outsmart me every time I enter a conflict. I don't have an answer. And so I avoid all of it to begin with. Laura, I feel like I already asked this question, but I want to just keep going back there one more time. Do the partner in healing, the person who's betrayed, do they actually want the person to bring to them things that are going to cause that type of an emotional response? The things that the unexpressed emotions, do they want the things that are, do they want this stuff? Does my question make sense?
It does, and I'm trying to decide how I want to answer that, because I think if you were to survey 100 partners, the majority of them would say, yes, I need it. Don't keep secrets from me. I need that honesty and transparency. And those same people in that conversation would be like, I hate feeling dysregulated. I hate that I'm so triggered right now. I hate that you're even bringing this to me. That doesn't mean let's not make the response the evidence that you shouldn't have said something.
Yes. Yes. Can you say that like 3 more times in different ways?
Let's not make the circumstance the evidence. I think I said that last time I was on the podcast. So the circumstance is this partner is really mad and she's yelling and she's telling me I need to stop seeing this therapist or get a different sponsor or whatever, because how dare they say that? And that's not safe for me. As the person that just shared that information, my brain is going to naturally say, I should not have shared that. I should not, because look, now that person is so mad at me, and this isn't healing. This isn't healing us at all.
Yeah.
And it's actually the hard conversations. That's where the repair in the relationship happens. Can we navigate a hard conversation?
So can you give the listeners what evidence, what should they be measuring? If they shouldn't be measuring my partner's response to this, what should they be measuring?
Was I honest? Was I acting in integrity? Am I living within my value system? None of it has to do with the partner.
You know what I think about when I hear you say that? And I think back about like addict days or compulsive days and go like, that's not worth it. What's the reward in that? Isn't that interesting? Like, and I could just, because even though it wasn't yesterday, I can still, and when I listen to you, hear you say, yeah, the evidence was measured as, was I honest? And my dopamine saturated brain does not see value in that, right? It doesn't see it. Doesn't feel like there's that much of a reward in there.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's that change of mindset that has to happen, that shift in recovery, right? Like I have to give up what I want now for what I want most.
Mm.
And if what I want now is like no conflict, then I'm going to give up what I want most, which is a deep connected relationship with my partner,
Mm-hmm.
or a life of living in integrity. Like
Mm-hmm.
those things can't happen if I'm not doing the work now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
like if you're training for like a marathon,
Mm.
you could any one of those training days say, I don't like this. I hate running. It's cold. My shins hurt or whatever. And at any moment, you could just be like, this isn't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you want most? Do you want to be able to run a marathon, or do you want to just sit on the couch and watch TV today?
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's definitely an acquired taste, honesty and truth and the outcome. It definitely doesn't taste good to begin with, but it starts tasting good way later. So all I need to do is just be in enough pain to really want and need something different than that. So I'll like say, I don't know why I said all I need to do.
So easy.
Yeah, it's just easy. It's just easy. The other piece of this that I wanted to mention, I had the opportunity to attend the women's intensive, and it was amazing. The feedback that we got from it, and just I won't share the specifics because it's not appropriate. But just and if you're one of the people that attended it, and this isn't your experience, I just recognize that. But for that feeling like there's something different now and things to build on, But one thing that came up from the intensive that just still holds so much power for me, and it's not new, which is partners just saying, why was he not honest? And how could he do this? Like, how could he do this and not be real with me and not see what kind of harm it could cause? And then I just think back about what's that movie with Jack Nicholson that says you can't handle the truth? Do you know what movie I'm talking about?
I'm not your movie gal.
You're not the movie person, that
Nope.
you're not the movie trivia person that I have on my team?
Nope.
Okay, so there's that A Few Good Men, and at the very end of the movie, he's, like, yelling in a courtroom, like, "You can't handle the truth," and those women are like, I need the truth. In order for me to move through and be in this relationship, I need truth." And I think about him going, "You can't handle the truth." And I think about him, to your point earlier, making that decision for her over and over and over again, like what she can and can't handle. And inside my body right now, I want to jump out of my skin. I'm like, stop telling her what she can handle and what she can't. Can you not see how strong she is? Can you not see what this stuff is? Stop protecting her in such a hurtful, not actually helpful way. Just think about this concept, my maladaptive ways of thinking that I'm protecting somebody.
Yeah. And even as you say that, I can also imagine that there are listeners that are saying, but you don't know, my partner couldn't handle this.
Mm,
I just say that partner's body is handling it, whether or not she's aware of it.
mm.
That's not fair to her to have her body having to respond to something that she doesn't know is happening.
Can you slow that down and break that down a little bit more? Because that really, really matters what you're talking about. Like,
What is
what you're saying, her body is responding. She is there is handling going on.
Yeah, and this kind of stems from Omar Munwala's concept of the secret sexual basement, where he talks about there's this house and there's this beautiful family and there's this secret basement that has a trapdoor underneath the kitchen table that only the betraying partner knows about. And he
Mhm,
goes down there and then he comes back up and he puts the rug under. But there's fumes coming up from the basement. There's like depression, anxiety, chronic illness, autoimmune diseases. Those are all things that the partner's body is handling that are an effect or a side effect of living in a relationship that isn't in integrity.
mhm.
If that person is living in a relationship where the reality that they are living is not the one they know about, their body is responding, even if their brain doesn't know why. And think of that double bind there, because the body is saying, I'm not safe. And the brain is saying, I can trust. And
Mhm.
that creates a mismatch there.
So powerful, so powerful. Their body knows, right? Their body knows. This isn't a secret to the body. So they're already handling it. It's just in a really, really destructive, hurtful way. Thank you for saying that. Any other thoughts on this, Loris, before we start to wrap it out?
No, I
Yeah.
think this has been such a fun conversation.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us for it. And thanks for telling us and speaking to the partner's experience. That space of letting go of a theme that can be helpful is just that stated thing. Like you picture yourself on the edge of a cliff, there's cold water below. You're like, how do I get the courage to do things that I'm not normally used to doing as far as living in reality and sharing what truth is? Just that theme of let go of the outcome. It's okay. Let go of the outcome. Don't manage it. See what happens. Just watch and let go. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us today, Laura.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. If this is something that you connected with, I'd love to meet with you more and talk about it. So what you can do is go to chooserecoveryservices.com or check the show notes. And there what we can do is set up a quick conversation to meet. Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Facade, where we unmask the authentic self.